Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about travel expenses, what you need to know, but more importantly, I'm going to talk about a neat way where you can use your travel expenses, make them deductible, but also mix a little personal in there so that effectively you're able to deduct a portion of your vacation. Make sure you watch the entire video so you don't get stuck in any traps, because it's not all straightforward. So let's just start off with what makes travel expenses deductible. First, it has to be travel that is ordinary and necessary as part of your business. And if the travel is ordinary and necessary and part of your business, which by the way, this is a threshold that pretty much applies to all business expenses, so this is not unique to travel, but if your travel meets that threshold, then you are able to deduct costs that are directly associated with that travel. So that could include flights, that could include gas or other charges for the travel. It could include lodging, it could include meals while you're away, maybe parking, and then of course, any kind of fees or something that you're paying for activities directly related to your business while you're there. For instance, if you're going for a conference that's related to your business, maybe you're presenting there, showing a product, then any fees associated with that or costs associated with that would of course be deductible as part of that travel cost. Now let's get into how to combine some personal so that you can effectively have the government help subsidize your vacations. And I say subsidize because by making expenses that wouldn't have otherwise been deductible, and therefore using that to offset income, well, you're saving tax dollars on that. So it's effectively reducing your cost of travel. So the best way is if you have a business and you want to travel, this is a great way to help convert what would have been personal expenses into business expenses. So let me give you an example of something that I've done. So one of the things I really enjoy is I like playing poker. I just like sitting down, talking smack with random people, maybe making a friend here or two, maybe pissing someone off, who knows. Well, as part of maintaining my CPA license, I also have to do continuing education every year. And so I have to get a certain amount of hours, and this is pretty common for a lot of industries, for anything that's licensed really. So I actually found this group that puts on a very good educational seminar every year. And they do it in person in various places because they're not from Arizona like me. So they will travel around and people will go, they'll stay up in a hotel and they'll do 2 or 3 day long classes, which provides really good tax education. It happens to be a very good program. So it's something that I want to do that is necessary to maintain my license and therefore necessary for my career and my business. So I don't really have an option not to do it, but I do have an option on what classes I take and where I go for those. Well, it just so happens that they actually have a class in Las Vegas, which is a great place to play poker. So what I do is I schedule the class there. And by the way, this is an important time to point out that if you're mixing business and personal, then the test that the IRS uses is the primary purpose test. And that says, is your primary purpose of the travel for business? So in this case, the class, I have to take the education class anyway. I'm going to go somewhere to take this class. It just so happens that the one I want to go to is in Las Vegas. So my primary purpose is clearly for business. I would not be going if it were not for having to do these continuing education classes to keep my license. But when I go there, of course, it's all day classes. Maybe they start at 8 and go to 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But after that, that's my time now. I can now deduct the cost of the flight and the hotel because that's what I was there to do, is for business. But then at night, I can go and I can hang out in the poker room for as long as I want, as long as I, of course, get up for class the next day, because if it turns into just a personal trip, then obviously that's not going to work. So I have to make sure that, yeah, I am still doing what I was supposed to there for my business. So I get the nights to myself and the daytime I'm spending learning. Now, planning the timing around these kind of things is absolutely critical. So for instance, of course, the flight there and the flight back will be deductible. But with the hotels, let's just say that classes are on Thursday and Friday, and if I wanted to stay the weekend, then I would fly in Wednesday night and I'd leave Sunday afternoon. Well, I didn't really have to stay for business purposes, potentially Friday night or Saturday night. I was only staying for really personal reasons in that case, in which case those 2 nights of hotel rooms would not be deductible. However, contrast with this with a different scenario. Let's say that instead I actually have the conference on Monday, Tuesday, and then I have a client that's in Las Vegas that I need to meet with, and it's going to take a while, and it's very critical that I meet with them. So I might as well meet with them while I'm already in Vegas. Well, their schedule may be that they can't meet until Thursday. So what if I flew out Sunday night, so I was there bright and early for classes Monday, I stayed again on Tuesday, and then, Wednesday I didn't have anything planned, but I still had to be there to meet my client on Thursday. It wouldn't have made sense for me to fly back Tuesday night and then fly back again. I'm basically going to be paying for another night of hotel anyway. So in that case, now that extra night is potentially deductible because my only reason for doing it was business purpose. And then it just so happens that Wednesday, I'm able to fill my time with maybe personal things. But of course, the expenses associated with any personal type endeavors would not be deductible. So if I decided to go to a show or something on Wednesday, that would not be deductible because it's not directly related to business. And going to a show or any other kind of expense that is really just kind of entertainment or personal reasons, or if maybe I had a friend there and I took a cab to go meet them somewhere, well, that cab ride's not going to be deductible because that was not for business purposes, even though the travel, the overall vacation, did have a business purpose. Before we conclude this video, I do want to point out that travel expenses is an area where the IRS does require more substantiation than other areas of the tax law for those deductions, mostly because people have tried to take advantage of this and have not been completely upfront about the deductibility of them. So you do have to document with receipts the dates and location of the travel, the business purpose for the travel, and the nature of the expense. And you'll want to have receipts for this for at least all the expenses that are over $75. However, I would definitely recommend having all the receipts, even if it's less than $75, because what it really comes down to is even if it's not actually required for expenses that are less than that, if you do get audited, and this is an area that the IRS agent will zero in on, along with auto expenses and some of the other areas that they require more substantiation, well, if you don't have all the receipts, it's just not going to look good. They're going to question everything a little more, right? So it's much better just to have everything available, have it all substantiated so that there's no questions and they don't have any doubt in their mind. And that way they don't look any further than they need to and waste everyone's time. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you can use this with your business and convert expenses that are not deductible into deductible expenses. I'll see you all in the next video.